As the sun dipped low behind the rugged Spanish hills, Don Quixote and his faithful squire, Sancho Panza, arrived at a humble camp of goatherds. A flickering fire glowed like a beacon of warmth, and from a metal pot rose the savory smell of salted goat meat, slowly simmering. Sancho, exhausted from long travel, tethered Rocinante and his donkey, the animals looking as worn as their masters. Though Sancho's stomach growled impatiently at the scent of food, he restrained himself, watching the goatherds lift the pot from the flames. They spread dried sheepskins across the earth as a makeshift table and welcomed the travelers with genuine and unpolished kindness. Don Quixote, honored like a noble guest, was offered a seat atop an overturned trough. The honest hospitality of these hard-working men contrasted sharply with the grand chivalric courts he imagined, yet he accepted it with courtly grace. Sancho continued to hover close to the warm pot, eyeing the meat like treasure. The goatherds, rough in dress but gentle in nature, invited both knight and squire to eat freely. Don Quixote sat proudly upon the trough, the wooden surface uneven beneath him but suitable for one of his knightly dignity. He beckoned Sancho to sit at his side, signaling equality between them. The table was nothing more than sheepskins, yet to Quixote it felt like a king's banqueting hall. The goat meat was thick and hearty, and the smell drifted through the cool evening breeze. A horn cup filled with wine passed from man to man in circles, brimming, emptying, and filling again like a water wheel in motion. Though the setting was humble, the simplicity of food and friendship warmed the scene into one of peaceful, rustic fellowship. Don Quixote, moved by the moment, insisted that Sancho sit beside him. Knight-errantry levels all, he declared. A master sharing his dish with his squire proved chivalry noble and holy. Yet Sancho, forever grounded in simple realism, preferred comfort over honor. He explained that food tasted sweeter when eaten alone, without rules, ceremony, or royal posture. Bread and onions in solitude, he argued, were better than turkey at a grand feast, where a man must chew slowly, wipe politely, and suppress coughs and sneezes like a prisoner of etiquette. Don Quixote, unmoved by practicality, gently forced him to sit, believing humility would lead to Sancho's spiritual elevation. Their dynamic captured humor, contrast, and affection, one a dreamer of shining armor, the other a man of the earth. The goatherds observed silently, entertained without understanding. With rustic politeness, the goatherds encouraged both guests to eat. They themselves said little, yet their eyes watched curiously as Don Quixote spoke in the grand language of knighthood and honor. The horn cup of wine passed restlessly between them, and soon one wineskin diminished noticeably. Their feast was simple but abundant, salted meat thick as a fist, acorns roasted by fire, and hard cheese like stone to bite. Sancho ate gratefully, making frequent visits to the wineskin, each sip settling warmly in his content belly. Don Quixote ate more delicately, carving his food with ceremonial grace, though hunger may have tempted him otherwise. The quiet was broken only by crackling flames, chewing jaws, and the wine-filled horn's rhythmic passing. Though worlds apart in background, knight, squire, and goatherds shared the same ground, food and drink, beneath the vast open sky. When the meal ended, Don Quixote took a handful of acorns, turning them thoughtfully in his hand. Something in their simplicity awakened philosophy within him. He began to speak of the Golden Age, a time when humanity lived in pure innocence, free of greed, war, or ambition. The earth offered fruit without toil, bees gave honey without theft, and streams flowed with water clear as crystal. People knew neither mine nor thine, for all things were shared, unclaimed and uncorrupted. No judges were needed, for no one wronged another. No one farmed with iron plows that wounded the generous earth. It was a world of peace, harmony, and trust, where shepherdesses wandered freely without fear or modesty tainted by pride. Don Quixote's voice grew tender, poetic, and nostalgic, as though he longed for that forgotten paradise. His speech continued, expanding upon the innocence of that lost era. Women adorned themselves not with jewels, but with ivy, dock leaves, and simple garlands. Their beauty came from nature, unpolished yet radiant. Men loved honestly, without cunning, argument, or deception. Justice was pure because no injustice existed to challenge it. Don Quixote lamented that the present age, cold, corrupted, and hungry for possession, no longer resembled such grace. Now maidens were unsafe even behind walls, for unworthy suitors found ways to pursue them. Out of necessity, he claimed, the Brotherhood of Knights-Errant was born, to guard the weak, defend widows, and restore righteousness. He thanked the Goatherds for their hospitality, insisting that their kindness reflected ancient goodness. His voice carried dignity yet melancholy, for he believed himself one of the last protectors of virtue. The Goatherds, though respectful, stood baffled by his elaborate sermon. They nodded politely, unsure whether he spoke of truth or madness. Sancho, meanwhile, paid less attention to philosophy than to eating acorns and emptying the second wineskin. The moon rose pale and round overhead, silvering the land and casting long shadows over their small gathering. The fire crackled with fresh wood as Don Quixote completed his reflection, eyes distant with dreamy longing. The Goatherds appreciated his gratitude, and though they did not grasp his chivalric ideals, they admired his sincerity. Silence rolled in like a gentle tide until one goatherd finally spoke, eager to return warmth to the air. He offered entertainment, music, the kind that softened hearts and brightened nights. A local youth would arrive soon, a singer and rebeck player known not only for skill, but for love. He began to sing, softly at first, then stronger, confident as the rebeck's notes blossomed like light. His ballad spoke of Olalla, whose eyes confessed love without words. Though she never declared it aloud, he believed she cared for him deeply. Her heart sometimes seemed cold as stone, her manner proud or changeable, yet hope flickered like a candle in the wind. If love was gentle, he saw gentleness within her. If devotion held the power to win affection, he proved devotion daily, dressing in fine clothes every Monday just so she might notice him. He sang of his longing, his patience, and his faith, a simple yet earnest love shaped more by sincerity than by poetry. Around him the listeners swayed, some thoughtful, some smiling quietly, all touched by the raw honesty of youth in love. The ballad then turned to jealousy and rivalry. Another girl, Teresa of the hillside, mocked him for loving Olalla and claimed his beloved was more monkey than angel. For speaking so, he challenged a cousin of hers and endured the consequences, a fight that left the tale remembered among villagers. Yet he refused to regret devotion. He vowed his affection was not the false romantic passion of courtiers, but pure, honest love. If she wished, she need only place her neck beneath the silk cords of matrimony, and he would follow willingly as a dutiful husband. The rebeck continued to cry softly beneath his voice, like a brook beneath moonlight. In one final vow, he promised that if ever he abandoned the mountains, it would be only to wear the habit of a friar, renouncing worldly desire. When the final note faded into the night, Don Quixote, moved by the music's honesty, politely asked for another song. But Sancho Panza, weighed down by wine and fatigue, hoped instead for sleep. He explained gently that men who labored under the sun needed rest more than endless songs. Don Quixote acknowledged Sancho's hint with the careful humor of a tired but noble spirit. "Those visits to the wineskin," he remarked, "call for sleep more than music." Sancho agreed heartily, declaring sleep sweet for all, blessed be God. Yet Don Quixote reminded him that knights-errant should keep watch rather than slumber. Their talk reflected again their contrast, one fueled by dreams of honor, the other guided by stomach and comfort. Still, Don Quixote yielded with grace, knowing rest was wise. Night fully claimed the mountains. Stars glittered like silver dust across the vast sky, and the fire settled into glowing embers. The goatherds prepared to rest, rolling up sheepskins for bedding. Sancho lay down quickly, his stomach full, his mind lulled by wine into pleasant heaviness. Don Quixote remained sitting, rigid, reflective, watching the flames consume the last of the wood. He replayed the music in his imagination. The hope, sorrow, and yearning in the young man's voice reminded him of Dulcinea del Toboso, sovereign of his heart. He pictured her radiant beyond diamonds, though he had never seen her as she truly was. In his mind, she shone like a queen of purity and strength. The music had awakened chivalrous passion, strengthening his resolve to pursue noble deeds in her honor. Silence spread across the camp like a soft blanket, broken only by wind brushing through grass. Don Quixote remained awake, thinking of honor, duty, and destiny. He believed the world no longer reflected the golden age he cherished, yet he felt chosen to resurrect its lost virtues. Knights-errant, like himself, must defend the weak and restore righteousness, even if misunderstood. Looking upon the sleeping goatherds, honest men weary from labor, he saw innocence deserving protection. Beside them, Sancho snored peacefully, loyal yet flawed, ever grounded in reality while he soared in dreams. The rosemary poultice warmed his ear, easing pain. Though the night was cold, his heart burned bright with purpose. Each adventure, each wound, each humble meal fueled his resolve to continue wandering roads where giants disguised as windmills awaited. As dawn approached, soft blue light crept across the hills, lifting darkness gently from the earth. The fire was now red ash. Sancho stirred beneath his blanket, and the goatherds slowly rose to begin another day's toil. Don Quixote stood tall despite weary bones, gazing toward the horizon with unbroken spirit. The memory of dinner, music, and conversation stayed with him, proof that kindness still lived in the world, even among shepherds far from courts and castles. Though his speech on the Golden Age may have been long, though few understood, he felt satisfaction in having spoken truth. He mounted Rocinante, dignified though rustic, and Sancho climbed onto his patient donkey. With gratitude, they thanked their hosts and rode onward into new uncertainties. Their journey resumed, the knight still dreaming, the squire still hungry, and fate still unwritten.